So let's go ahead and just have a nice, comfortable seat so we can check in. We're a small group on this pre-Thanksgiving Monday. I have a lot of people that told me their family and friends are already in for the holiday. And so let's go ahead and do a really nice semi-relaxing shoulder opening practice. This is good for most of us. So as you find your straight aligned spine and close your eyes, I want you to really relax your shoulders. I want you to think about your muscles draping around your skeleton, kind of like clothes on a hanger. They just drape. So your shoulders should be very relaxed along with the rest of you. Start breathing a nice, deep, slow Ujjayi breath if you can, while you check in with all of your body parts. Check in with your thought processes right now. Check in with emotions. And also just kind of notice what your energy is like right now. And so we look at all of those things to see where we're at. If there's anything that we would like to alter or change, that's what we use our intention for. So bringing palms together in front of the heart, we'll just pause for a moment and set our intention for practice today. When you're clear on that, take a deeper breath in. And then a big exhale through the mouth. We're going to begin on hands and knees. I'm just going to have you do some cat-cow stretches to begin with. And so just inhaling to arch and exhaling to round. We're just trying to loosen up the spine, limber up a little bit. And then maybe even throw in a little bit of lateral movement, whatever feels good to you. And then let's start working just a tiny bit with the shoulders. We're going to really ease into it and make this a relatively yummy practice. So the first thing I want you to do from all fours is roll one shoulder back at a time. I know in the past when I've had you do this, I've kind of told you think about like a really nice sinuous feline stalking through the jungle or across the African savanna. Just the shoulders just kind of rippling. Do that one more time on each side and then pause. Still on all fours, we're going to do what's called a scapular push-up. Don't let the name scare you. Quite simple. All we're going to do is keep the arms straight. You're going to kind of let your chest sink and then you push through the hands and you'll feel a little bit of a lift between the shoulder blades. So you just kind of drop and press. You're allowing the shoulder blades to come together. When you drop the chest, you're separating the shoulder blades as you press the ground away from you. Let's do that 2 more times. Excellent. And then just go ahead and take your first child's pose. From your child's pose, we're going to scoot forward into Sphinx. Big toes touching, heels separated, pulling the chest forward and making sure that the shoulders are down the back. And then toes turn under, downward facing dog. And of course, you may pedal the feet a little bit if you need to, but just really press those hips up and back. Now, once you've kind of gotten settled in your downward facing dog, notice what's going on around the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Let the shoulder blades move slightly away from each other and have a little bit of space between your ears and shoulders. And then drop back down to your hands and knees. If you have wrist issues, this next little movement, you're going to come onto the fists. If your wrists are okay, just spread your palms. So now we're going to circle our upper body over our wrists. So even though you're feeling this in your wrists, also feel into what's happening in the shoulders. When we kind of move back, the shoulders get a little stretch. As you move to one side, you'll feel it on one shoulder more than the other, and you circle around. And then let's pause and change directions. Circle your torso the other way over those wrists. So you're actually getting some shoulder mobility here too. We're just taking it easy to begin with. And then pause. You can wiggle a little bit. From here, we're going to be moving into that half heart opener, but we're going to use this for shoulder mobility. So for those of you with shoulder issues, you'll just be super gentle and careful. But what I'm going to have you do is bring your left forearm across the front of the mat. Let your forehead rest on it. Go ahead and reach that right arm forward like we normally do. Really reach through the right fingertips. Pull your tailbone back. You want to create tension through the length of the body, and then kind of allow the armpit to drop slightly, but don't let your elbow bend. Take a couple of breaths here. And then everybody doing this in the way that feels best for them. We start to walk the hand a little bit to the right. Continue to allow the right armpit to kind of move towards the floor. Walk the arm a little farther around to the right. Now you're going to feel it more towards the front of the shoulder rather than the armpit. Maybe even walk your right arm till it's straight out to the side. And then you can just slide it back around and we'll switch sides. Right forearm across the front of the mat. Forehead rests on the forearm. Left arm extends out. Tailbone reaches back. Once you feel that length throughout your body, you allow your left armpit to kind of drop down towards the floor. Take a couple breaths. And then again, being mindful of your own shoulders, maybe walking the hand a little to the left, keeping that arm straight. Walking it a little more. You'll get to a point where you feel it less in the armpit and more on the front of your shoulder. Maybe even getting that arm all the way out to the side. And then bringing it back around and coming back up onto hands and knees. Wag your tail a tiny bit. And then finally here, before we get moving even more, we're going to go ahead and go into a traditional threading of the needle. So I want you to inhale your right arm up. Exhale, scoop it underneath. Keep your left hand exactly where it is. And kind of push and roll with that left arm. So you're going to feel this behind your right shoulder blade. Just breathe into that. Come on out of that. Right hand plants. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale the left arm underneath. Press with that right hand. Kind of roll into it. Come all the way out of that. Turn those toes under. Take your downward facing dog again, really pressing the hips back, creating space between your shoulder blades. And then walk your feet forward. Keep your knees bent. Hang in ragdoll for a couple of breaths. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Pause for a moment, feel nice and stable and rooted. And then inhale, reach your arms up. I want you to interlace your fingers, palms press up towards the ceiling. Reach just the arms back. So again, you're kind of feeling this almost as if it's an armpit stretch. If you want, you can lift the chest and roll it back slightly, but keep the arms reaching back. And then unlace the fingers and keep reaching them back. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and fold forward, fingertips down. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale back down. Step back with your left foot. Just come into your lunge. Hold this for a couple of breaths. And then it's up to you if you want to keep the left knee up. You're welcome to drop it if you need to. We're going to keep weight on the left hand, but take the right hand up towards the ceiling. Now, once you feel like you're stable, I want you to play with range of motion with this right arm. If you can, make some big slow circles with your right arm. And I suggest you try both ways. And then we'll bring that right hand down and drop the left knee down. We're going to take both arms up and overhead, pelvis tilts, hips move forward. And then once you're firmly established in a front hip stretch on the left side, I want you to bend your elbows and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Then extend the arms out to the side with your palms up and reach the thumbs back behind you. And then bring the hands down on either side of your right foot. And you're going to extend your right leg, flex the ankle and toes, and lengthen your spine. So you're getting into that right hamstring. And then from here, we'll just take the right knee back to meet the left knee. Those of you doing vinyasas, of course, you may begin to take your more challenging flow. The rest of us will just take a child's pose. And then scoot forward into Sphinx. Lengthen. And of course, you can do Cobra if you would rather do that. And then downward facing dog. And remember, every time you find downward facing dog, I want you to find space between the shoulder blades. Let's step forward with the left foot. And just hold your lunge for a couple of breaths here. And then keep that right hand firmly planted. Remember, it's fine if you'd like to take the right knee to the ground. We're going to take left hand up towards the ceiling. Once you feel stable, play with some big circles with your left arm and make sure you go both ways. And then bring your left hand down, right knee to the ground. We're going to bring both arms up and overhead, tilt the pelvis, hips move forward. When you feel the stretch on the front of your right hip, right thigh, you're going to keep that and then bend the elbows and squeeze your shoulder blades together. It's like your elbows are moving down and back. And then let the arms extend out to the side, palms up, reach your thumbs behind you. And let the hands come to the ground on either side of your left foot. Extend your left leg, flex the ankle and toes, pull your chest forward. Bend your left knee and step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So we're going to turn sideways and take a nice wide side step. We're going to begin with eagle arms here. In a moment, we'll do the full balance, but I want you to just really enjoy some of the upper back stretch without worrying about balance. So if your arms are in front of you with your palms facing down,
Your left arm will be on top, your right arm will be on bottom. We're gonna cross the elbows and maybe bring the palms to touch. If that's too much for the shoulders, backs of the hands facing each other is fine. Take a big circle in each direction in the air with your elbows. Once you've gone both ways, if you feel like you can, keep this hand position. Hinge at your hips, relax your neck, and you're just gonna let the arms hang. So when we're hanging upside down, it's as though you're raising your arms up, right? So you're gonna feel this is a really nice yummy stretch around both shoulder blades. Take one more breath. And then you can unwind the arms. Use your hands on your thighs if you need to. Come back up, roll your shoulders back. And then we're gonna bring the arms in front of us. And this time, your right arm is on top, your left arm is on bottom. And again, we're just gonna make that big circle in each direction with the elbows. You'll feel all kinds of stuff in your shoulder blade area. And once you've gone a circle in each direction, just keep your arms here. Hinge at your hips, fold forward, and just let the arms relax. So even though the palms are together, what's happening is your elbows are no longer by your chest. They should be more like in front of your face. And so you should be feeling this behind the shoulder blades, but in a gentle way. Take one more breath. Release your hands. You can put them on the mat. And now toe heel your feet together. Take a big inhale, raise the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, palms together in front of your heart. So now we'll do the full shebang, but we're still gonna start it from the top so that you get the shoulder stretch before you have to worry about standing on one leg. So again, arms are in front of you. The right arm is on bottom, left arm is on top. Let's go ahead and wrap them. And this time we're gonna be mindful of our shoulder position. Pull the shoulders down, lift the elbows up, press them forward. So once you do that, you're really feeling this. There should be space and breadth across your upper back. We're gonna keep the hands in this position, bend the knees a little bit. Left thigh is gonna tightly cross the right thigh. Now, if you need to slide that foot down and use it like a kickstand, by all means do that. Otherwise, drop the tailbone a little deeper, lift the chest a little higher, push the elbows forward a little more. Don't forget to breathe. And then unwind, both feet on the ground, roll your shoulders back. Excellent. We're going for the other side. So first we do the arms so that we don't miss our stretch. Arms are in front. This time left arm is on bottom, right arm is on top. Shoulders pull down, elbows lift and press forward. Then we bend the knees a little bit. So important to bend the knees. Right thigh really tightly crosses left thigh. If you need to, slide the toes down as a kickstand. Drop the tailbone a little more, lift the heart, push those elbows forward so that you feel that stretch between your shoulder blades, and then breathe. And unwind. Both feet on the ground, roll your shoulders back. Awesome. Feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway. And then back down. I want you to step back onto your hands and knees again. So just a quick reminder of those scapular push-ups. If your arms are straight, you just kind of let your chest sink and then you push, right? Do a couple of those just to remind your body, because then we're going to do the same thing from our forearms, kind of like you would for dolphin. So I want you to come onto your forearms, reach around, grab your upper arms with your hands up by your armpits. You should be able to wrap your hands around your upper arms. Your elbows will be quite close. And then interlace your fingers and press your forearms onto the ground. So the same thing here. You just let your chest sink and then you push into your forearms and you'll feel a lot of space between the shoulder blades. Sink and press. Do that 2 or 3 more times just to get that motion. I want you to feel that. Now, this next time that we press through the forearms and create space in the upper back, stay there. Relax your neck. Your head should not be on the floor now because you're pushing through your forearms. You have serratus anterior engaged. We're going to keep that. Turn the toes under and press the tailbone up and back for dolphin. Now, if you can walk your feet forward, but you want to keep pressing through your forearms, keep your head off the ground. Try and have legs straight and tailbone reaching up and back. Take one more breath. And go ahead and come back down onto your hands and knees. Wag your tail if you need to. Those of you doing vinyasas may take one. The rest of us are going to take a much earned child's pose. And then from here, scoot forward into Sphinx. And then downward facing dog. Press the tailbone up and back. From here, I want you to walk your feet forward, standing forward bend. Inhale the arms up. And exhale, palms together. Now, from here, we're going to be playing a little bit with some shoulder mobility again, of course. So just always being mindful of your own shoulders and their limits. What I'd like you to do is bring your arms in front of you like we had a moment ago, right? This time, your right arm's going to be on top, your left arm's going to be on bottom, and you're going to cross your elbows and reach around like you're giving yourself a hug. See if you can get your fingertips to maybe clasp the inside edges of your shoulder blades. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. All I want you to do now is just ever so slightly drop your chin into your chest, barely round your upper back, and I want you to breathe extra deep and slow. If you're touching your shoulder blades, when you inhale, you're going to feel them move farther apart. And as you exhale, they move back towards each other. Now, raise the head back up. Your right arm should be on top. I want you to reach it out to the side with your palm pointing forward. Rotate your thumb down towards the floor and reach your right arm behind you. So the back of your right hand is over here touching the left side of your waist. Gently reach down with your left hand and clasp your right fingertips, maybe giving them a little bit more of a pull, not a lot. What you should feel is that your right shoulder blade is pulling down. And if you have tighter shoulders like I do, I'm feeling the stretch already on the front of my right shoulder. Now I'm going to gently drop my left ear towards my left shoulder, and I'm feeling it all along the front and top of my right shoulder. Just breathe into that. Release the arms. Roll your shoulders back. You might notice as you're rolling your shoulders back right now that your right side feels different, hopefully because we've been working it. So arms are back in front of you, palms down. We cross them. This time, so your left arm's on top. You're going to reach around and see if you can grab the inside edges of your shoulder blades again. And maybe you can, maybe you can't. Not that important, but you should at least feel them. Slightly tuck the chin in, slightly puff out the upper back, and then 3 slow, deep breaths. Hopefully feeling those shoulder blades moving away from each other a little bit when you inhale and moving back towards each other as you exhale. And then we raise the head back up. We're going to take our left arm out to the left, palm forward. Rotate that thumb down now. Reach your left arm around behind you. So now the back of your left hand is over here at the right side of your waist. Reach down and grab those fingertips and gently give yourself a little bit of pressure. Now you should be feeling it along the front and maybe a little on the top of your left shoulder. Gently take right ear to right shoulder and you should feel it all over. Just a couple breaths here. And then release that left arm, roll your shoulders back. So you can either turn sideways or just take a slightly wider stance than the width of your mat. So you don't have to turn if you don't want to. Toes are going to rotate out. We're just going to do a couple of goddess squats with those cactus arms, which is what we were doing earlier when we were doing our sun salutations. So what I want you to do is bring your arms out to the side, palms are forward, bend the elbows so you kind of have goalpost arms. Take a deep breath in. Now as you exhale, you're going to bend your knees, pressing them out to the side, squeezing shoulder blades together and pulling them down the back, and hold this as you breathe. Now listen, as you inhale, you're going to come up and round your back forward for a moment. Come back up to where you started. Breathe in. Exhale, bend the knees, squeeze the shoulder blades together, squeeze the elbows down and back. One more breath. As you inhale, come up and round your back for a moment, and then exhale and release. Excellent. Final position that we're going to do the shoulders from just standing on 2 feet, because I want you to feel stable enough to really get the upper body benefit here. Depends on your shoulder mobility. So I do actually have a shoulder issue, so I don't do so fantastic with these. So these are your 3 choices, and I want you to do whatever's best for you. Choice number 1 is to interlace fingers behind the back, squeeze the shoulder blades and lift the arms. So that's usually okay for most of us. Some of you guys probably have good enough shoulder mobility that you can reach around and clasp your elbows. Big squeeze of the shoulder blades, right? And for those of you who can, you can come into reverse prayer or reverse namaste. Like I can't do that, so I can't show you, but it looks like prayer hands, but it's back here in the middle of your back. So you choose which one of those feels best. Whichever one it is, keep your arms in that position. Keep your shoulder blades squeezed together and then start to bend the knees and fold forward, relaxing the neck. So you've either got prayer hands on your back, you're grabbing your elbows, or you're squeezing your shoulder blades together with your fingers interlaced. Take one more breath here. And then slowly come on back up. Release the arms and roll your shoulders back. Palms together. Big inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway and lengthen. And then back down. And yet again, we're going to move on to hands and knees. Give yourself a little tail wag if you would like. So we've done a lot of shoulder opening through the upper and front part of the shoulders. We're going to hit the back side a little bit now. However, I'm going to caution you that if you have neck issues, you're either going to be exceptionally mindful and careful, or you might skip. So we're going to be moving into rabbit. You're going to start kind of in a child's pose, but the idea, if you feel like you can, is to put the top of your head, the crown of your head, as close to your knees as possible. You reach back and you grab your heels, and then you start to lift your bum. So basically your head is rolling underneath you. Now, if you have a healthy neck, this is a pretty yummy upper back stretch. If you have neck issues, this might be a no-no, in which case you would just stay in child's pose. And then we'll come out of that. Those of you doing vinyasas, you can take a last one. The rest of us will just scoot forward into Sphinx.
and use this as part of our final flow. Lengthening the spine, and then downward facing dog. So just pressing that tailbone up and back, reaching the hips high. And then you're gonna drop to your knees again. So we're gonna do 2 more shoulder stretches that we start in a prone position, which means face down, before we do our seated stretches. So all I want you to do is just come face down onto your stomach on your mat. Your right arm is gonna reach out to the right, palm facing down. So your right arm is just straight out to the side. You're gonna use the left hand where it is, kind of by your shoulder, to just gently help you roll onto your right side and bend both knees. Now, if your shoulders are good, your left arm is going to reach behind you and will most likely mirror your right arm. Mine sticks straight up in the air. Yours is probably dropping back. If you want to go deeper, your left foot can go flat. And if you really want to, you can take both knees up towards the ceiling. I'm not going to go quite that deep today. You go as deep as you need to, or be as kind to yourself as necessary. Take one more breath here. And come back onto your stomach. Now we're going to do the other side. So you're going to take your left arm out to the left, the palm faces down. You just use your right hand under that right shoulder to gently help yourself roll onto your left side, knees are bent. If you can, your right arm reaches up and back, and it should look just like a mirror image of your left arm. If you want to go a little deeper, right foot is flat with your knee towards the ceiling. Deepest is with both knees pointing up. But again, you do what's best for you. And then we'll come back onto our stomachs nice and flat. So that opened up the front of the shoulders. Now we're going to do one that will open up the back of the shoulders. So at the moment, you should be face down in the middle of your mat. That's perfect. All I want you to do is roll to your right. So you're going to roll onto your back, and you'll be on the right side of your mat, slightly off of it. Your right arm is now going to reach out to the right, this time palm facing up. So it's just straight out to the side, palm facing up. And you're going to roll back over on top of this. You're face down on your mat again. Ideally, both of your hips are flat. Your right arm is underneath you. You're feeling this behind your right shoulder blade. If you can, you relax your neck and you reach your left arm over your head. So your arms are kind of like at 90 degrees. And you breathe. Now, I like to just bring my left hand and bring it back under my left shoulder so I can push a little bit and just take my right arm out from underneath me. So you're back on your stomach, flat in the middle of your mat. Now you're going to roll to your left. So you're rolling onto your back. You're slightly off your yoga mat. You're going to take your left arm out to the left. Your palm is facing up. You're going to leave your arm there and just roll back on top of it. Face down, neck relaxes, right arm reaches overhead if you can, and you breathe. So just bring that right hand back under the right shoulder. You can lift up enough to kind of drag your left arm out. If you need to do a Sphinx or something, go for it. But from here, basically, we're just going to come to sitting. So if you want, you can down dog or anything else. Otherwise, just press yourself up and have a seat. So taking a moment in Dandasana to just kind of check in. It's a little bit different kind of practice. So kind of notice
And maybe you'll feel this and maybe you won't. I know a lot of times I have us do hip oriented practices and there's usually lots of energy running through the lower body, but just notice right now, if from your rib cage up feels very alive, maybe more alive even than the lower body. So we've really been focusing on this area. Just taking a breath in your Dandasana to check in and make sure everything is good. And then if you are comfortable with rounding the back, we did a pretty extreme upper back bend when we did rabbit a moment ago. If that was a no-no for you because of neck issues, this might be a better option. We're gonna tuck our chin into the little notch in our collarbone and keep it there and gently, mindfully start to roll and curl down as though we were gonna put the top of our head on our knees. Again, this is a really big upper back stretch. You're gonna feel it between the shoulder blades. And then come on up, lean back on your hands behind you. Lift your chest and push it forward. So you just stretch the upper back. Now you're stretching your upper chest. All of this, of course, is shoulders. And then you can either keep your legs straight or if you like, just come into an easy cross-legged position. So we're going to take our right hand behind our head. Just put your left hand on the ground for stability. The first thing you're going to do is try and point your right elbow towards the ceiling. Then you're going to reach it back behind you. So you should be feeling a little something. Then maybe slide the left hand out a little bit. I like to bend the elbow. I feel more stable that way. And you're turning it into a little bit of a side bend and shoulder opener. So this is sort of like the underside of your shoulder, right? Take one more breath here. And then here's what I'd like you to do. Keep your body and your head as they are. You're going to release your right arm and reach it down as though you're trying to touch the floor, but you don't have to. That's making that right shoulder blade drop. And if your neck is relaxed, you're suddenly feeling a really deep stretch on the right side of your neck and the right shoulder. You can just kind of pull and push yourself back up. Use your left hand on your cheek to pick the head up. Roll your shoulders back a little bit. Again, you should be able to feel a difference. I love to check in and see where I'm at and what I'm accomplishing. So then you can just put your right hand on the ground for stability. Left hand is behind the head. First, we kind of point the left elbow up at the ceiling. Then we try and kind of reach it back. Then maybe slide the right hand out a little bit and or bend that right elbow. Big stretch here. All right, so listen, you keep your body and everything as it is, but you're going to release your left arm up. Keep your head relaxed to the right. Start reaching your left hand down as though you would touch the floor by your left hip, depressing that left shoulder blade. Really breathing deep into the left side of your neck, top of the left shoulder. And just slowly push and pull yourself back up. Use your right hand on your right cheek. Press your head back up and roll your shoulders back. Awesome. Extend your legs into a nice wide V. So now we're coming back into, I gave you 3 options for your arms earlier when we were standing. You can either interlace your fingers behind your back, right? You could grab your elbows or you could do reverse prayer, depending if you can. You get to choose whichever one's best. Whichever one you choose, you're going to do that here, really, really squeezing your shoulder blades together and just pushing your chest forward, keeping your legs very active. So whether you have your fingers interlaced and the arms lifted, or whether you're grabbing your elbows with your chest pulling forward, or even doing reverse prayer, this prevents you from hunching and rounding the back. It keeps you very straight spined,
Shoulders opening while you're getting that little bit of inner thigh work. Couple more breaths here. And then you can just slowly come on up. Release the arms and roll your shoulders back. Nice. From here, bring your legs together. Give them a little wiggle if you like. We're going to roll onto our backs. Hug the knees in. Rock side to side. So you'll keep your right knee bent and extend your left leg all the way out of the ground. Just to hug that right knee deeply into your chest. And while you're doing it, if you can, interlace your fingers over the knee or the shin. So we've done this in class before. I want you to start pushing your right knee towards the foot end of the mat. And you want to push it until your arms get straight and you start to lift. Now you don't want to push so much that your head and your body are all the way off the ground. I want the back of your head still on the ground, but your upper back should be lifted. You should be feeling a really nice stretch between the shoulder blades all along the upper back. Couple of breaths. And then on your next exhale, just squeeze that right knee in again. From here, we're going to take the right arm out to the right, palm facing up. And as you start to pull this right leg across your body and twist to the left, I would love for you to try and go deep enough that at least your right shoulder blade is off the ground. And the reason for that is so that we can finally get this last little bit of front shoulder and chest opening. Now, if you can get something off the ground on that right side, then you can kind of play with your right arm, like play with the angle. One place is going to be really like the best. You'll know it when you feel it. You'll be like, oh yeah, that's it. So when you find that spot, you leave your arm there and you simply breathe. One more breath on this side. And then just come on back up, and as you exhale, you're going to hug your right knee in, bring your left knee up to meet it, give yourself that yummy side-to-side rock, that little cradle rock. And then keep your left knee hugged in, extend your right leg all the way out to the ground. Just keep your left knee hugged in for a moment. And then just like we did on the other side, if you can, interlace your fingers over that left shin or left knee and start to press your left knee towards the foot end of your mat until you start to lift a little. Remember, you don't want to be way up here with your body off the ground. You want the back of the head on the floor, but you want your upper back lifted so your arms are straight. You're getting that really yummy stretch between the shoulder blades. And then just hug your left knee back in. From here, we're going to open that left arm out to the left. And just like on the other side, when you start to bring this left knee across your body, rather than just stopping and letting the left arm stay flat on the ground, I want you to try and come far enough over that at least the left shoulder blade lifts off the ground. Now, if you're extra tight like me, you could get the whole arm up. And maybe that has like good feelings for you. It does actually for me. My whole arm is off the ground. But you might be more limber, but just try and at least get your left shoulder blade up. And then you can start to play with the angle of this left arm until you find just the right spot so that you have that, yeah, that's it feeling. And then you simply lie there and breathe.
2 more breaths on this side. On your next inhale, come on back up. As you exhale, hug your left knee in. Bring your right knee up to meet it. Rock side to side. Our inversion is going to be bridge, and if possible, we'll use this for our last little shoulder opener. So we're going to put the feet flat, big toes touching, heels separated. And I want you to just lift your hips, and if you can, you'll interlace your fingers underneath you, straighten out the arms, and kind of roll onto the back of the arms and shoulders. And then really lift your hips and your rib cage. One more big breath in and out. Lower back down. Hug your knees in, rock side to side. And if it feels good to you, for just maybe 4 or 5 times, rock back and forth as well. This is nice because it's good for the upper back as well as the lower back. And it's kind of fun. And who doesn't need more fun in their lives? All right. Once you feel like you're good, you can just come to rest. Put your feet flat on the mat, ankles and knees together. You're going to let your knees drop first to one side, and then inhale them up. And as you exhale, drop them in the opposite direction. So we're just doing that gentle, breath-centered hip roll. One more time on each side, or whatever you require to feel as though you're equal and even. And then when the knees come back up, we're going to let them drop open with the soles of the feet together. Take a deep breath in and press your low back into the mat, flattening out the low back. The next time you breathe out, you can relax your body, release, and you'll feel your natural arch return. On your next inhale, flatten the back another time. And then exhale and release. You may begin to extend your legs, perhaps wiggle them a little bit. Make sure your spine feels long, and particularly today, that the shoulders are relaxing away from the ears, that your palms are facing upward towards the sky. Your jaw is relaxed, your eyes are closed, your forehead is smooth. You take a deep breath in through the nose. And you exhale it out with a nice, soft sigh. Just allow your body to settle in, to just nestle into the mat and the floor. Feel your breathing getting gentler, deeper, slower. And then bring your awareness back to your shoulders, where we did all of this work today. So you did a lot of physical release through your shoulders, which is fantastic. We need that. But we're also going to do some energetic releasing today. So I'd like you to first think of all of your responsibilities and obligations. And these don't necessarily need to be unpleasant. They're just simply things that you must do, that you carry with you, so to speak. Also, perhaps think of all of your expectations. And I want you to lay them all down. So there's some different ways you can do this. You can actually visualize that these are things being carried on your shoulders, and you can kind of toss them off or put them down. I frequently imagine that I carry all of my burdens like a backpack. So I like to imagine myself sliding my arms out of the straps and just setting it down. Whatever works for you is fine. But I want you to imagine that all of your responsibilities, all of your obligations, all of your expectations, all of your preconceptions, that you literally lay them down and put them off to the side. Have no fear. You may pick them back up again if you like, but for now, set them down. Relieve some of the burden that you carry. Relieve some of the burden that's on your shoulders. When we can let go, even temporarily, of all of our preconceptions and thought processes, then we have the capacity to basically be present like a blank slate. And in that state, all possibilities exist. When you are in the present moment with no preconceptions, all possibilities exist. So for the next minute or so, I would love for you to just bask in that energy, that lightness, that freedom. Right now, at this moment, because you've temporarily laid everything down, you don't have any expectations, you don't have any responsibilities, you don't have any preconceived notions about how anything should be. You are an open blank slate and all possibilities exist. And then start to feel back into your physical body. Notice physically how you feel around your shoulders. Obviously, our asana practice, the postures, made a difference to what you feel. But how do you feel even energetically around your shoulders? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel more open? Feel into the rest of your body. Notice how you feel mentally, emotionally, and energetically. And then go ahead and start to deepen your breath and begin to move your fingers and toes a little bit. Take that deeper inhale, spread the fingers and toes. Exhale through your mouth as you relax the fingers and toes. Take an even deeper breath in and just stretch, stretch, stretch however you want to stretch. And then exhale and relax. Bend your knees, either just letting the feet be flat on the floor, or if you prefer, you can hug your knees into your chest. Just give yourself a nice little side to side rock if you want, and then roll to your right side if you can. Press yourself up into sitting. Find your nice straight spine. And come back to that same awareness that we had at the beginning of class, just kind of letting the shoulders just drape around the rest of the body like clothes on a hanger. Notice if it is easier for them to drape. And then bring your left hand to the center of your heart and your right hand to the center of your abdomen, your solar plexus. We're just going to do deep, slow yoga breaths. But what I would like for you to do is imagine that you are breathing in from the crown of your head all the way down to your right hand. You'll feel your right hand expand in your abdomen. And that when you're breathing out, the breath is coming from the right hand up to the left hand and out, as though you're breathing in from the crown of the head to your abdomen and breathing back up and out through your heart. Just a nice, slow, self-nurturing Ujjayi breath. Now, as you finish out the breath that you're on, just allow your hands to rest down, palms up on your knees or thighs, and take one more opportunity to feel into you, your body, your breath, your mind, your heart, your energy. And then just slowly bring your palms together in front of your heart. Take a moment in gratitude that you have this day, this beautiful blank slate of hours before you, where anything is possible. If we just stay present and we stay open, all possibilities exist. That's most certainly something to be grateful for. Take one more huge inhale through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. We bring our palms together in front of our foreheads, and this just reminds us to be present, to be in the moment where all possibilities exist. We bring our palms together in front of our mouths, and this simply reminds us to speak our truth, but to do so with kindness so that we can be heard. When we bring our palms together in front of our hearts, this reminds us to always practice compassion and love, and to remember to include ourselves in that practice. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Namaste.